Okay, it looks like my Facebook is rebooting, so we will give it just one more second to make sure the people who are watching from Facebook will hear everything. Never had that happen, but let me start again just in case you didn't hear me. Welcome to those who are watching on Facebook. We're having our Women Balancing Life program, and with me is Dr. Lowe, professional psychologist. She will assist with giving us some direction to how we can manage it all, because we think we can, right, women? If you are watching, please type your questions or comments in the comment section if you're on Facebook. And as I just mentioned, if you're on Zoom, you can open up your camera and mic and pose your question right there. We're going to get started. I already have a long list of things that I want to talk about, Dr. Lowe. Are you ready?
Yes.
I know the sense of feeling empowered is one thing many women are maybe not even realizing that they're concerned about. They may think it's necessary. Some things may be a necessity. Some things may just be the feeling of empowerment. Can we talk about, is that dangerous? Is that acceptable? Is that okay? Speak on that a little bit, please, Dr. Lowe.
I was talking to Gail earlier as we were getting ready for the session. I was sharing with her that I would like to be able to talk to you all about power, because that sometimes can be a dirty word, especially for women. And I want to, for you to be able to reclaim that word in the sense that if you look up the dictionary, simply, it defines power as an ability to do something. So when we think about that, I was thinking, so what are the powers that I have, right? I have the ability to read, so I can think of that as my power. So power doesn't have to be the power hunger kind of power or the corruptive power. We can bring it down to the basic, which is it simply is an ability. So from there, you can start thinking about, so what are all my abilities? Most of us, one way or another, we have some kind or multiple kinds of ability. And when we know what our powers are or what our abilities are, hence power, that's how then what we can use to empower ourselves. And then we can use that power. So that's again, sometimes people think about power as a bad thing. It's because we have seen power being used to abuse, to hurt, to exploit, to manipulate. And that's often how we associate power with something negative. But if we think about it, power really is neutral. We can also use it to protect, to build, to uplift, to support. So reclaim power in that way to think about, so what are all the abilities that I have? And then how do I use those powers to then protect, to build, to uplift? And that can be uplift somebody else. That can be uplifting myself, right? So I think this is an important conversation to have as we talk about balancing power, balancing life, because balance is a verb, right? And so for us to do it, just like electricity, if we don't have electricity, no power, we cannot read, we cannot have the computer operating for us, right? So our abilities is our power, and we will use that to do things for good. So then use that then to then balance your life too. So start with then knowing. So I would encourage people that I work with, which have that conversation, and then we will sit down and then write down the abilities that you have. It doesn't have to be superior, right? If I can cook, if I can sort, then I can go work at a kitchen. And what do you call those places where we will serve? You know what I'm talking about? Serve food, kitchen.
Catherine, I can't hear you. I think you mentioned some. Unmute yourself.
Unmute myself.
Catherine, I heard her trying to answer.
Oh, okay.
Maybe restaurants.
Restaurants, but I was thinking about those place we volunteer, right? So then we can then go and then serve, right?
Like a food pantry, soup kitchen type place?
Right, that type of place, right? And so I don't have to be the best cook in town. I don't have to be the best chopper, but if I can chop, I can wash vegetables. That is my power, and I can use that to protect, to uplift. If I can sing, I know that there are people, they may not be interested in becoming professional singers, but then they go to nursing homes and then they sing. They will be called, and then when people are about to die, they will bring in those choir and then come in and sing for the person that's about to pass and sing for the family. So you can use that ability, singing ability, to soothe, right? And that's your power. You can soothe a baby. One time I was on a train coming back from Chicago. There was a child on the plane, probably 3 years old. It was she, I think it was a she was screaming, and the train was agitated, right? And my partner was like, I'm having a headache. Here are the 2 tangerines, do something. I'm like, I don't know what to do. But me being a psychologist, when I approach the child, very quickly I see that the child has special needs. My guess is that it was either autistic or maybe has Down syndrome. I'm not sure, I don't remember now, but there's something that I pick up. I was like, this is a different child. Likely she was overstimulated. So I offered the mother, I said, can I take her for a walk down the aisle to give her that stimulation and the relief from her face, because she knew the whole train was agitated.
Mm-hmm.
So I just gave that child my little finger, and then I walked her up and down, up and down, up and down. And then she got quiet because then she had that stimulation. By the way, the mother also had an infant. So I know that she was frazzled, just didn't know what to do. Nobody came to help her. And I offered that. And all I did was walk that child. I can walk, I'll walk that child and then help everybody.
Mm-hmm.
So that is a simple thing, right? We don't need to have some sophisticated information or superior abilities, but to think about what can I do and then offer that. And that's our power. So think about that as you care for people. A lot of women, they have to balance their life because they have a lot of people they have to care for. So first think about your power and offer that to people, offer that to yourself.
That's fantastic. To even think about it that way. It may sound to some that you're adding to the list of the things to do to balance, but to me, it sounds like you're prioritizing what you can do to balance and redirect the attention maybe from yourself and many of the pressures and challenges that you may have on yourself, and even serve serve others. That's right. And I think that also ties in with relaxing. And relaxing, I don't always just mean go to sleep and relax, but that too, we'll get to that a little bit down the road, but relaxing your mind of the many, many challenges and responsibilities that you have to give attention to others. Kind of talk about that and see if I'm going in the right direction with relaxing.
Yeah. So I would encourage people to think about our body literally is like an engine. It needs to warm up in the morning. It needs to cool down at night. A lot of the times clients come to me and they have trouble falling asleep. And when I ask about their sleep schedule, I get them that they expect when their pillow hit the head, their expectation is that they will then fall asleep. But our body doesn't work that way. It needs at least 30 minutes, if not an hour, to unwind. So anything that you do during that half an hour to an hour, it has to be preparing your body to sleep. And from there, people can do any kind of things. I don't really have some people on the internet, they will say, oh, no blue light, no computer and all that. I say you pay attention to yourself. For some people, that actually help them sleep. So what you don't want to do is for whatever you do, it became engaging or get your body excited. Then that is the opposite of helping you sleep. So I had a client who found black and white TV, the rerun, somehow it calms her down. So she had TV on before she went to sleep, right? And then others, then it is then, I don't know, something National Geographic, because when they read that, they just start dozing off and it helps them sleep, right? So whatever you do, don't get your mind excited like, oh, this is so interesting. If it's a page turner, that's not a good activity to help you unwind. So if you can hold on to that principle, it'll help you with your sleep. Although then women will say, I don't have a half an hour or an hour to unwind. I don't know how many, I cannot see you, so I don't know how many people have this problem. That's really common,
Well, you
right?
can see the smile on my face. I'm sure that a lot of women are smiling at that.
Right. And so remember, I said we cannot pour from an empty cup. Right. And so sleep is so important because that is the time that our body detox, our body regenerate, the cells regenerating, and then all the internal organs, they need time to rest too. So when you don't sleep, they are not sleeping. And then the next day, they're not able to do their work for you. So it's so important that we sleep an adequate amount of number. So all that can happen, and then for you to then be able to do well the next day. So sleep and food are the two things that I will not compromise. Like I have to have my sleep and I have to have my food. Because just like a car, yeah?
I wonder what the statistics are for that, because sleep, that is just one thing I have not been able to master. And it seems like the older I get, and I don't know if it's the stage of life that I'm in now, I sleep even less. And it seems like I'm winging it on a good 4.5 hours sleep. That's a treat.
Right.
5 would be really pushing it. It would be a luxury. But I can tell if I get that 2.5 to 3 hours, that's when it's touchy and I'm not thinking like I should the next day. But I haven't slept more than 5 hours since I was
Gail,
20.
do you mean you don't sleep 5 hours straight or altogether?
I mean, collectively.
Hours collectively, okay, yeah.
I know that's terrible. And I hear the reasons why, and I'm not intentionally not trying to do. Listen at me, I sound like I need the therapy. Where's the couch? But I don't intentionally say, okay, I'm only going to sleep 5 hours, but my brain just does not shut off.
Right.
And if I'm awake longer than 2.5 hours, then I get up because I feel like it's idle to just sit there and try and make yourself sleep. Am I the only one? I see that look on your face, Catherine. I mean, I just don't. What do you say to me? I know it's important. Is it, what is going on?
Yes. I am not able to tell you what's going on with you, right? Because I haven't sit down and then ask more questions. But I would suggest that if you have trouble getting enough the sleep that you need, talk to a professional and then identify reasons why that is. Sometimes it is physical, sometimes it's behavioral, sometimes it's psychological. So it then depends on what it is, then we will bring the intervention.
And I know I did come from a job that I had to work and be there at 5 a.m. So things like that probably make a difference too. When you go to sleep at 1, having to get to work at 5. So those kinds of times could make a difference as well, or I'm not sure.
So if somebody needs to get up at 5, then I will encourage them to then be to go to bed by, I don't know, 9 o'clock.
Ooh.
So then they can get that 8 hours.
Is that a thing?
Yeah. Well, I would think that we have to make it a thing because I cannot overemphasize the importance of sleep. It has so much to do with our physical health and then also mental health. Sure. Without enough sleep, we just don't function well, and it'll make balancing harder.
I also heard you mention diet or what you eat.
What we eat, yeah.
Talk about that a little bit more. Just the overall diet, helping mental.
Yeah. So I want to be clear that when I say diet, I don't mean diet like for you to lose weight. It's what I mean food, right? Meal. So I make sure I have balanced meal. So the carbohydrate, the fiber, protein, so that it's because my body needs that. That's fuel. And then oftentimes, especially this day and age, we have a very strange relationship with food. meaning we treat it like it's entertainment.
Mm.
And we care more about whether it's delicious, whether it looks beautiful, shiny, and this and all that. But that's really not the root of what food is for. Food is fuel for our body. And so in a way, we have a unhealthy relationship with food. And then there are people who say, oh, it just doesn't look good, so I'm not eating. I don't eat today because I didn't see anything good. I was like, that's a wrong focus. Focus on what is nutritious for me. What does my body need? And then I'll eat that. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So yeah, we can wrap it up. I don't give up. Food and sleep, no compromise. Yes.
Absolutely. That's very good. Got to keep that part in mind as well. And once again, if you are watching on either platform, Facebook or Zoom, if you have any questions or comments, please feel free to type them in the chat or the comment section, or you can pose your question yourself by unmuting yourself. We'd love to hear from you. Let's go on and talk about more balancing life. One thing that I've started doing just most recently, again, from over years, is a to-do list. And I literally write down the things that I have to do and then remind myself and set reminders in my phone. And I found that very helpful with balancing and setting priorities and managing things overall. And it's been really helpful. I've been sticking to it and I'm proud of myself, something I haven't done in years. Speak on that a little as well, please.
To-do list is helpful because now most of us, the problem is with too many things. And so then our brain is then tasked to have to remember them all. And so when you have a to-do list, you save your brain power from having to remember, and you're able to see what's in front of you, and then you then get it done. And we also tend to be out of sight, out of mind. And that's why to-do lists can be very helpful. Yeah. And some people, if they're not visual people, although humans for the most part we're visual people, we're not audio, or we don't like dog, we smell for information. So usually to-do list is there's a visual aid and it's helpful. But if you tend to be then audio, that I know that with cell phone now they can then remind, you can set it up and then will remind you, and then you'll hear it and you know when to do what. And that'll help us organize things. It's also helpful in terms of helping us say no. Oftentimes women, they are, I want to make the distinction between juggling and balancing. And juggling in the sense that when Gail tell me to do something, I'll say yes. And then my church asks me to do something, I'll say yes. And so many places I say yes, and then I'm just juggling. For me, balancing is more intentional. I decide if I sleep 8 hours and I work 8, that means I only have 8 more hours to do everything else. So when I say yes to something, usually first thing I ask is, how long does it take? Because everybody got 24 hours, I got 24 hours. I need to think about, is this half an hour task, or this is a 5-hour task, and then every day for 30 days. And that will help me decide that, yes, I'm gonna say yes to it, or I'm gonna say no to it. So that is then we're then balancing it rather than juggling. So
I like that.
Think about that too. Yeah, yeah. Otherwise, we say yes to like a long list of things, and that will require, I don't know, 72 hours a day to get it done.
Yep.
That's not possible.
Yeah.
We're exhausted. Yeah.
Wow, you're giving me a lot to think about, because I do think I'm a juggler. I say yes to everything, and then I fit it in or try and cram it in. I am just really in need of therapy.
Right.
But I mean, how many women are like that though? I mean, I juggle, and I think I'm balancing if I accomplish much of it within that 24 hours, but it's really a juggle, because seldom do I say no. Just recently, I would say within the last maybe couple of months, have I started to ease in some no's. But I think sometimes women feel like they shouldn't say no. With children and work and spouses and life and choices that you feel like you just have to make within this certain amount of time or else.
Right.
And it becomes juggling.
Right.
Catherine, I see. Sure.
That may be part of the reason why you're not getting to sleep early
You
either.
think?
Yeah, and all the
But I'm constantly juggling up here.
yeah, thinking
I'm
what
gonna
I
take
got
this.
tomorrow.
Right.
I'm going to take this off me. You're going to know all of my secret
Right.
flaws.
I always tell my clients, I said, math is math is math. We have 24 hours. You add it up. So first ask how long this is going to take. And then that'll give you a sense of whether you can put it on your plate or you cannot. And also the other thing is that make it very clear who really depends on you. And I will say infants or maybe toddlers. And once they are 5, once they're 7, then there are things that they are able to do. And then from that out, for them to do those things, you're not doing it all. Right? And then maybe it's elderly, your parents, and then they really literally depend on you. Then those are the two groups of people, like, because they cannot do for themselves, and I will do it. But once they are at an age where they have the ability to do it, let them do it. That's also empowering them, right? Because then now they have these abilities for them to do those things. So that way we don't end up with too many things on our plate and then be exhausted.
Yes. I like that. And sometimes, you know what, it isn't even that difficult to say no. It's just putting into my mind that I should say no.
Just say no.
I can say no.
Right. So those then are the two groups of people I may not say no to, but everybody else, I exercise that right. Right.
And sometimes I think if you don't want to say no, it's okay to say wait. And that means, you know, it is something that is important that I need to address that I want to get to, but just not right now. You have to take ownership of yourself.
Right.
And don't feel bad to put it on the other person if it's their issue to wait, if they're able to wait. And if they can't, then they'll move on to another option. Not feeling obligated to everything, I think is important. And a good wait is okay.
Right.
Is that right?
Yes. And sometimes we can also direct them to other resources, right? If I cannot come on Gail's show, I may say, hey, maybe you can contact Dr. So-and-so, see if they're available. If they're not, circle it back to me and we'll see what we can do. So we can also direct them to other resources.
That's good. I like that. I'm learning things. I hope you are, everyone. Okay, let me ask this. What are signs and triggers that you are on stress burnout or just to the edge? How do you communicate your needs? Maybe that's a 2-part question, but what are some of the signs that, other than my sleep, I know that, the things, but besides that, what else are some of the tricks?
Generally, I will say when there's a change. So for example, if I now usually I sleep 4 to 5 hours, but now all of a sudden I'm sleeping 9 or 10 and just cannot get myself to wake up. So there's a change, or generally I sleep 8 hours, but then it's down to 4. Or then I am eating more, or I am eating less. Irritability is not a sign that I then get cranky. Some people, they have other physical symptoms. I used to be, when I'm very stressed out, it's a very strange thing. It's that my eye will get swollen. It'll be like a walnut size. And that's my way of knowing. I've heard
that before, actually. I've heard
that before.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
And I have people, they have breakout and rashes and all that. So different people will have different signs. So pay attention, and again, that is a change, right? And so after that, a few times I was like, this is too late. This is too late for me to then go into the stress management mode and take care of myself. So what I had done, and I will share that with people, is that bring that threshold lower. So don't wait till it's an 8, then to intervene. When it's a 5 or a 6, then do something. And so sometimes we wait till there is a presence of negative to do something. And I encourage people, when there's absence of positive, then start paying attention. I'll give you an example. Presence of negative is when I cannot sleep. That is a negative thing. Now it's present, right? When my eyes get swollen, that is negative. The presence of negative, that is too late. So absence of positive is, So for me, it is if I don't cook 3 nights a week, that tells me I'm overcommitting myself during weeknights. I gotta do something. Okay. Or for some people, I had a client who said that when I don't do my facial once a week, then that was a sign for her that something is out of whack. So we will watch for absence of positive. Okay, so it can be if I don't walk with my friend every day, or I don't call my mom on the phone, assuming talking to your mom is a positive thing. If there's absence of that, they know that, hey, I'm so committed to other things that I don't have time to talk to my mother. Okay, so let that then be a sign. So you can start rebalance so that you don't get into the negative part.
And what you said is really important. And I saw some responses or reactions, facial reactions, when you mentioned the person who said facial, if I don't give myself a facial once a week. But I think that's important. That's a part of self-care.
Right. For her, yes.
Facial, yeah. Who has time for something like that when life is going? But that could be that person's self-care. That's just as important as anything else. If that's the one thing that they count on for their little moment to themselves. So I understand that. I get it.
Right.
I think I seldom factor in, or how many women, I'd like to know, how many women prioritize themselves? And I don't know if you talked about that specifically, where you're comfortable with your balancing act being you first. Do we really do that as women? Or do we make a face of going, no, I can't soak in the tub for 30 minutes because what in the world's going, or whatever it is, because we feel like we should not put ourselves first. And how much of a difference will that make going forward when we realize, hey, I can better take care of my children and my situations if I put me first.
Right.
What do you say to that?
So we have to.
Selfish?
No, it's not. We have to take care of ourselves first. Again, you cannot pour from an empty cup. And so do take care of yourself so you can take care of other people. Mm-hmm. Like on the airplane, the flight attendant, they will say, when it's emergency, put a mask on yourself and then you assist others.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So do that. Yeah.
Did we talk about the sense of urgency? I know that was some things that you were going to dwell on a little bit more. Sense of urgency, that feeling of everything has to be done right now. I think you pretty much talked about that, but let's talk about that a little more. How do you stop doing I know the things that we should do, but many of the things we hear it over and over. This is what we should do. We should sleep. We should eat better. We should exercise. We should prioritize ourselves. And after a while, it sounds like the Charlie Brown teacher, but zone in and tell it how do you do it?
Mm-hmm.
Is it therapy? Is it always that or not necessarily?
It really all depends. I think therapy can be a place for a lot of people. It may not be for some others. And so I think, again, at the end of the day, it is about us, we take care of ourselves. Because without that, there's nothing, right? And so I wouldn't say that we should eat better because of that should, right? Then we feel guilty. It is that it is important to eat well. So let's do that. Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And as we care for other people, which is a form of love, don't forget to love yourself too. And again, it sounds like we're repeating it. We cannot pour from an empty cup. Yeah. So something that is urgent, like Gail said, can it wait? I have women say, if there's no blood, don't talk to me. You handle it among yourselves.
There's a commercial about that too, where the lady, is it a cat commercial? What is she doing? She's enjoying her cat and the kid saying, I fell down. And she said the Band-Aids are in the cabinet. And he says, but I'm bleeding. She says, get two.
Right.
You know?
Right. And as we care for people, don't forget, I always say to my client, I will not do things for you that you can do for yourself. So, and I think that can be applied. So teachers don't do things for students that they can do themselves. If you're doing that, you actually are taking away their opportunity to do something for themselves, right? To have that sense of achievement and accomplishment. So help them, and so they can do things. Otherwise, we have a 20-something-year-old cannot cook, doesn't do laundry, and then need a woman or a partner to do it for them. Then I don't think we're successful as a parent. So start young. 5-year-old can do something. Let them do those things. So we don't end up with too many things on our plate.
Wow, if we don't do the things that people can do for themselves, we probably could clear out our calendar in a big way, because who thinks about that? I mean, sometimes you think about it with your children, sometimes, but just in general, if you don't do things that people can do for themselves.
Right.
I can think, just within the last few days of, wow, that makes a lot of sense.
Right. And so if you're like Gail, you do to-do list, right? As you are writing your to-do list, you start thinking about, is this something that somebody can do? If they could, let them do it. And I don't know, if that cut down half of your to-do list, wonderful, right? Yeah.
I think often it comes with two. Here, I can only talk about for me because no one else is typing. You all type some comments. Start talking. Otherwise, I'll just keep pouring out myself. I think about for me as, wow, who am I letting down when I don't do X, Y, or Z? And I think I give more attention to that than prioritizing for myself. I think about, wow, there are a few things like, wow, I felt like I should do it, even though that person could do it for themselves. Just because either I'm asked,
right?
or I think I'm sorry, Dr.
So there's I should again. I should do it, right?
Instead of
people can ask us anything. I tell my clients that, and then we reserve the right to say yes or no.
That's right.
I one time went on an interview, and somehow throughout the interview, this person said, "Can I ask you a personal question?" I was like, well, we're at an interview. Why would you want to ask me a personal question? And I say to him, I say, you can ask me anything, but I reserve the right to answer it. And so he asked, and it's something that I'm comfortable answering, so I answered. So I don't tell people to not ask, for the reason that I respect people's right to ask. It's how they survive, right? So they can ask, and then they just need one person to say yes. And so it may not be me, but they keep asking until you get a yes. But I'm not going to decide for you whether you can ask or not. I decide for myself whether I'm going to say yes or no. So empower yourself to also say no. You don't let people down if you don't say yes to them. You let them down if you say yes and you don't follow through. That is letting people down. But if I can't do it, I let you know. I will actually say that is a form of respect. So you don't have that expectation and I cannot deliver, right? I won't even let you have that expectation. I'll say, no, I can't do it. Keep going, keep asking, so they can get their needs met. And again, that doesn't apply if it's an infant. Well, they won't ask, but if it's a child, and then you need to take care of them. Yeah, but for all others, I think that rule applies.
I like what you said. We should co-author a book, Empower Yourself to Say No. Doesn't that sound like a good title?
There's probably books out there. Hopefully.
That specific title, I like that.
Yeah.
That was really directed to the point, empowering yourself to say no. And then, so tell me, how do you communicate your needs, or a couple of things? How do you communicate? Okay, I'm at the point. I'm at level 8 or wherever. How do you communicate wherever you are with your loved ones or your associates, your family, your coworkers? what are some strategies or techniques for communication in dealing with life that's becoming overwhelming?
So be specific, right? If would you like to use work as an example or family?
Let's do work. We'll do both. Let's start with work.
Okay, yeah. So I may then say, if then they give me a project, or they put something on my desk and it's an hour before I clock out, and looks like this project is gonna take 4 hours, and then my boss say, have it to me by 8 o'clock in the morning. I may say to the boss, this looks like it's a 4 hours project and it's an hour before I go. I need to go pick up my child. Is it possible that I have it to you by noon tomorrow? So I'm very specific about how long this task is gonna take. And then the time, right, it's 4 o'clock, I need to go at 5, it's only 1 hour. So math is math is math. There's 3 hours extra. So I will come in and I'll work from 9 to 12, have it to you on your desk by noon. Would that be okay? And if they say, no, we need it by 8, then let's see if other people can do that. If then that's not possible, okay, I will work double time. I'll call my partner for them to pick up the kid, but then I will come in the afternoon tomorrow, right? Math is math is math. If I work 3 hours extra, I'm gonna take it back somewhere. So you can communicate that with them. Yeah.
Good.
Yeah. So specific. Yeah. Of course, if you work for a toxic boss, that won't work, right? Then
They'll say, we'll find someone who can do this
yes,
4-hour
yes,
job in 1 hour.
yes. Then you do have a decision to make. You decide. Yeah.
I think too, I'm sorry, continue.
No, you continue. You said, go ahead.
I'm thinking too, with what you're saying is great. And thinking beforehand what the options are. If they say this, then be prepared, because you said if they say no, then be prepared with another option. Well, then can I do the other?
Right.
Thinking a little step ahead, I think, helps as well when making decisions, particularly with work, when you need to say no, or this, I don't have enough time for this, or this is bothering me.
Right.
Role play it in your head, a couple of options. Often it doesn't go, yeah, I'll take that back. Often it will go to one of the options that you're thinking can happen. What if my boss says, I'm not accepting this? What if they say, okay, I see where you're coming from? At least have some other plans and alternatives in your head before you launch out and make a statement.
Right.
Let's talk about family. I want to split it up with kids, and then we'll talk about significant others. How do you communicate your balance issues or limitations? Start with children.
So with children, then it is about, again, be specific, right? If I need to work, a lot of you probably work from home now, and the child, you just cannot be interrupted. You let them know that mommy needs to be on this call from this time to this time. And you give them option. If they need something during that time, maybe call grandma, or you give them some other things, or then for them to wait. And know then that you won't unless there's blood. And then let them take care of themselves and provide options, because that's also an opportunity for them to practice. How do I keep myself busy if I am bored? Because sometimes kids will knock on the door because they're bored, they don't know what to do, and they want you to interact with them. So give them an opportunity to learn those things, or to give them opportunity to problem solve on their own. And if they cannot get it figured out, let them know that come 8 o'clock, mommy will help you. So give them that time. And as long as they can read time, know that then come 8 o'clock, this is what I can expect. Rather than don't call me, don't do this, don't do that. Give them something that they can do. Give them that command. So that would be one idea. There can be so many different things, sure. Right? Yeah. So that would be an example to address a very specific situation. So if audience, you have particular situation that you're dealing with, you can then write it in. Gail can then read it back to me, and I'll do my best to insert them.
I think everyone is enjoying what you're saying thus far. You're absorbing it all. You're saying great things. Let's move on and talk about significant others, husband. How do you communicate the same question? How do you communicate you're at burnout level, you're stressed out, you're at an 8, you're at a 7, whatever. When do you say something? What do you say? Or do you explain or justify your actions because of the balance problem, burnout, overwhelmed?
Right. So hopefully we don't get to that point if we follow the advice of when there's absence of positive, right? And so then the ongoing communication would be helpful. I encourage couples to ask each other this question, which is every day, what is one thing I can do for you to make your life go better? And so that is that we continue to stay in tune with each other.
Wow, I wonder how many people do that.
So that's where checking in, right? That's not wait till we get problems to then try to solve it. We want to maintain that relationship. So I'm aware of what your day is gonna be, my day is gonna be, and then what is one thing I can do. And then if there's something that you can do for me, I will then also train myself to also let you know so you can do that. So we can help each other out that way. Mm-hmm.
What is one thing I can do to make it better?
Right.
And then do you, just in case the other person doesn't ask you the same question, do you also say, how do you carefully say, here's what you can do to help things better for me? How would you word that?
I won't be careful in that. I will say, when I ask you this, I want you to ask me that too.
Because it probably would not.
Yeah,
What do you mean? What can I do to make it better? I'm already doing, so.
Sometimes we train our partner a certain way. We train them to think that they can dump everything on us. And if I'm doing everything for people, then we train people to treat us, how to treat us, right? If I say yes to everything, and I'm also anticipating before you even say, I'm gonna say, oh, I'm gonna do it for you, then they will expect that from us. So for them to know that this is an equal partnership, like we help each other out. You do this, I do that. So that way, then they are not too, they don't take us for granted. Yeah.
Okay, so Dr. Lowe, I'm being as real as I think with the spouse part.
Please
If
do.
the wife says, what can I do to make it better?
What can I do for you today to make your day go better? Yes.
Should they enter into that conversation with the expectation that their husband is going to say the same thing? Because I think that probably won't happen. And that will just take that number 8 right up to a number 9 in terms of balancing your work.
I won't have that expectation they will ask that back. I just won't. I assume they won't.
Mm-hmm.
And
that's okay? Yes.
No, it's not okay.
It's not okay.
I don't set that up for myself. I don't set that expectations up for myself. I know they won't ask. And that's why I say, I'm going to ask you. I want you to ask me too.
Oh, okay.
I train them to treat me. Yes. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay.
Right. And until now, you didn't know to ask that question. So you never ask them, right? Mm-hmm. So why do we expect they would ask you? No. I actually expect that they wouldn't.
Yes.
And because they wouldn't, that's why I will tell them, please ask me too. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And hopefully, yeah, we are collaborating.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And is it safe to say, don't make your expectation longer than the question at hand? Because then it sounds like, oh, you only set this question up so you can tell me all the things you need me to change to make things better for you. Is it okay to think that? Because that's what I would presume. If someone asked me something and say, now you ask me, and I ramble about all the things that you need to change to make things better. Am I setting up something, Catherine?
I think what she said was they're supposed to be asking you, what's the one thing? So it's not a whole list of things. It's supposed to be one thing. I thought I heard her say.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
So for example, then I may say, can you pick up the kids today? So that's one thing that'll make my day go better. Or can you then pick up this thing on your way home? So think about what's one thing. So when you have that to-do list, other than things that people can do, then there's also you need help with, then you can take that one off and then give it to somebody.
So one easy thing, that makes a difference. Just
Yes.
that one little thing
Yes.
can make a big difference.
Yes.
Sure, I get it.
Right. Maybe call the insurance or pay the bill, right? What is one thing?
I like that.
Mm.
One area I did leave out, what about friends? Because sometimes your friendships, true friendships are meant to be forever. And one improper or something that takes you over the top can ruin that. How do you deal with balancing friendships when there's a limit or where there's an expectation or where there's anything that you feel that needs to be addressed when it comes to just your general friends or your close friends?
Mm-hmm.
How do you address things like that?
What do you mean address things like
the same way that we mentioned how you express things to your children. We
Right.
talked about how you express things to your spouse. I'm asking, how do you express things to your friends?
Mm-hmm. So similar tips, right? Be specific. And I will also use time again. If they're asking me to do something, I want to know how long it'll take. And then let them know whether I can do it for them or not. And trust in that they can then find somebody else to do it if I cannot. So that's what I would, so be specific and then also think about how long something is gonna take. Unless you're also thinking about, sometimes what I have is that we don't wanna listen to our friend complain, or they will gossip, or there's some negative energy. They wanna complain about their job, how stressful it is, and then all that. And so then again, back to specific and how long. So for example, you may say, I know your job is very stressful and it's helpful for you to have a place to vent and you like to vent to me. So we're very specific about that. And I said that instead of an hour every night, can we do half an hour and then twice a week? So it's not all or nothing. We're having that compromise, and that compromise is then what I'm comfortable doing. If half an hour and then twice a week is still too much, then offer one night or offer once a week or once a month. So it has to be what you're comfortable offering.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's how then you can then take care of yourself. So then somebody doesn't continue to take your time, take your energy. Nobody is entitled to it, and you get to decide how you want to give it.
It's really important.
Mm-hmm.
And I see that. I understand where you're coming from. I see, I guess, probably both sides to it as well. Sometimes friendships include being the listening ear, because you need that. If
Right.
some people may not go to counselors, your friend is who
Right.
you share your everything with. And I think that's okay. Tell me if it is or isn't. If you are the one that needs that 3 hour sharing with a friend because you need that release, if you have that kind of communication, and I mean on both sides, if you find yourself you're the only one pouring your soul out to someone
Right.
who's your friend, then that's not appropriate. But isn't it necessary or beneficial at times to have that someone that go to that you can
Of
release
course.
without
Of course. And so that is if somebody is okay with that, right? But if they're not okay, then they can say, then this is what I can offer you. Mm-hmm. Right.
Sounds good. What else? We're coming close to our hour. I want to talk about a couple of things. And I know you have something that's really interesting. We talked about your dance. Is it a program or a
So
stress relieving mechanism?
it is called Groove, and I had Gail's permission to share that with you all. And I want to extend that invitation to any of you that is listening in, is that if you would like to try it out, you can email me at hswnlo@yahoo.com. And we do meet on Zoom every Wednesday at 5:30. And it is it's the best workout program that I have found, in the sense that it's all about taking care of your body. And then they acknowledge that every body is different. It has different history with injury or trauma, right? Not to say we're coming different sizes and abilities. And so that program will allow us, each song, you'll be given 2 movements. So for example, we may say snap, then you snap however you want. And if we say walk, you walk however you want. There's no front or back, right or left. You just walk. So we're united in the movement. This is really powerful when we get to do it together in person. So we're united with those 2 or 3 moves or rhythm, but we get to do it our own way. So I have group people who are in wheelchair or is half paralyzed, right? And so they walk in their own way. Sometimes I didn't say walk with your feet, because guess what? Elbows can walk, hands can walk, right? If I say drum, you can drum on yourself, you can drum on the ceiling, well, not really, but towards the ceiling, and you can drum with your hands, you can drum with sticks. So it allows for all kinds of unique yourself to come out in those movements. So if you would like to, and then you can also Google it, just Google Groove, you'll see some videos and to see if you're interested, and I will be happy to have you on the dance floor.
And what is your connection to that again? So
I am a Groove facilitator. I saw this on Facebook feed, and just out of curiosity, I click on it. I was like, oh, wow, this is interesting. I was a closeted dancer until 45 years old. And when I saw that, I was like, hey, I can dance too, right? I was looking for something to get myself moving, because my job requires me to sit for 7-8 hours a day. I had a lot of aches and pain, and so I want to find things to continue to move. And so I came across this. I said, I really like this, because before you knew it, I was dancing in my bedroom. And so I Googled it, just hoping to find a class in Ann Arbor. That's where I live. And guess what? There's not a Groove class. So I took matters into my own hand. I signed up for the training. I went to Chicago. I got trained, and I'm bringing it back to this area. So I would love to have you. And I think that's also another way for us to take back control of our body. I was sharing with Gail that a lot of the time we're told that women shouldn't do this, shouldn't do that, don't move this, don't move that. And so this is a way for you to really reconnect with your body and to take care of your body. And what it also does for me that is surprising is it also helped me with my confidence. And so I also built in a lot of, so songs are empowering. I'm very careful in screening what songs I'm gonna pick. So anything that is objectifying women, not gonna make it to the list. So it's empowering, and my commitment to my groovers, that's what we call you all, the groovers, is then that you will come and feel satisfied physically, emotionally, and spiritually. That's my commitment to all my groovers.
We definitely have to have you provide that at the Novi Public Library as soon as we're back to reasonable, normal.
Right. And I try to make it
get back together. It sounds great.
Yes, I try to make it accessible to people. So I take donation, and if people are not able to, and when COVID hit, some people lost their job, but this was so important to them to be able to do this and to be with community, then I don't charge. But I do ask that you pay it forward,
Mhm.
which means that say it's 80 class for the whole series, right? Then you pay that $80 equivalent to something. You volunteer, you read books to children at libraries. I don't care. You pay it forward.
Mhm.
And I like it when people let me know this is what I did. That brightened my day.
Sounds great.
So don't let
I
money
love
be
it.
an issue if you're interested.
Sounds fantastic.
Mhm.
Dr. Lowe, we're close to the end, and I want to leave the door open if you have anything else that you'd like to close with, to give people some last a statement on women balancing life. That's what we've been talking about through the entire hour. Just something to close out with. I've enjoyed you the entire time. No pressure, sorry.
Take care of yourself, right? And to rehash, think about 24 hours, and then you decide how you're gonna divvy that up. And things that people can do for themselves, let them do it. That's good for them anyway. So don't deprive them of that opportunity. That will then you also have a say in how many things you want to put on your plate.
Very good.
And learn to say no if you have trouble with that. We generally, women are not socialized to say no. Or when we say no, it's not respected. Right? So if you have trouble saying no, learn how to do that.
Great.
Yeah.
Love it.
Mhm.
Dr. Shawin Lowe, appreciate it, everything. Thank you all for
having me.
listening from Facebook, from Zoom. I hope you had a little bit to take away from it that you can apply. I certainly did. I have a lot to work on, don't I? And now you all know, so you can trace me and see what's
We'll
going on.
support you.
Yeah, support
We
me.
call for community support. Yes.
So we call these mental health series as a part of our mental health series program, and we do try and have them at least once a month. So check our Novi Public Library's website and calendar for upcoming programs that may benefit you or someone that you love or care about. And we hope to see you very soon. Stop by the library. We are open, full capacity. So I hope to see you soon. Thank you and have a good evening.
Bye-bye.